the trifecta of membership: attraction, engagement, and new club formation. And you heard your membership chair, Peter Hamilton, say attract, retain, and form new clubs. Well, if you think about it, there's only three ways in which to grow Rotary. And we have thought about it a lot, the people who think about membership. And those three ways are simply bringing more people into your club, attracting new members. I'm glad that Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland has the global hub, and kudos to you for setting that up. I think that's wonderful to have a path that's not tied to a club that could actually lead to membership. So we attract new members, we engage members, that's the retention. We try to make them feel comfortable so that they are happy where they are and actually bring in more friends and family. And then the third way is to form new clubs. So whenever an international president is getting ready for his or her year, they have to figure out what to focus on, just like DGE Wayne had to figure out what to focus on, and DGE Lloyd, and our club presidents. So if you think about it, you know, this year under Shaker Mehta, we were under the each one bring one. And now in the new year coming up that starts in less than 60 days now, it sounds like Wayne is ready. Jennifer Jones, our RI president-elect, actually wants to focus on retention, and she wants every district governor to form two clubs, two new and creative clubs in the year. So let's talk about the attraction strategies that we had this year. Because if you think about it, when Shaker Mehta says each one bring one, that's attraction. That's the first way of growing Rotary. So you have to, when you're thinking about attracting people, you have to ask yourself, why do people join Rotary? Well, you know, the number one reason people join is because they want to do service, usually local service, and then second most, youth service. But of course, there's international service and all this other kind of service. And they want to have friendship. They want to serve with their friends or like-minded people. Same with Rotaract. They're also looking for professional connections. And this is the key part. 85% of Rotarians are Rotarians because someone asked them. How many people today were asked to join Rotary by somebody? Okay, so the majority of us. So that's why I loved when your DGE Wayne said effort, because I really do believe if we ask the people that we know, our friends, our families, our neighbors, the people we work with, the people we worship with, the people we work out with, the people at our offices, then people will join. The other key thing is, do they feel welcome? So we're going to talk about when we get to engagement, why people leave, but the number one reason people leave is because they don't feel comfortable with their current club. So when you're thinking about how do we attract members, and I know you have a goal of being, you know, Peter's goal is a little bit higher, but DGE is to sustain and not lose any members. Well, what is Rotary all about? When you think about it, Rotary is a business. Like any other business, we have a product that we're delivering. What is that product? It's the club experience. So if we promised our members, you know, we heard about the new club and the 3 new members they just got, and they're going to get up to 20. If we promise those members something, we better deliver it. And for our current members, we better make sure that what we're doing actually delivers what we promised there. So there's a variety of things that people want, both in a professional level and on a personal level. They want a variety of service projects. And, you know, different people want different service projects. Some want to do local, but some want to do international. So we want to make sure that we have a variety of projects to do. We want to have fun social events. You know, we heard how important it is to have fun, how important it is to be happy. And Wayne Morgan is 100% accurate with that. People join because they want to do something, they want to do service, but they want to have fun while they're doing it with people who are like-minded and similarly situated. People want professional development, especially our younger members and Rotaractors. And they can get that. They can rub shoulders with people of significance, whether they be in government or they be a nonprofit or whatever industry they're in. Leadership development is so important. Our current president, Shaker Mehta, said he never had a leadership opportunity until he was president of his Rotary Club. And he used to not like to speak in public, but Rotary helped him grow that way. And with Toastmasters, we can do the same thing. Mentoring can go both ways. We could learn as seasoned members from the new members how to do things like social media. And then, of course, they can learn for us what we do in our professions. Networking opportunities are important, and family friendly activities are important as well. But we can't just say we're family friendly. We actually have to show that we're family friendly. You have a club, Maidenham Bridge, which meets on the first and third Sunday of every month at a coffee shop, and they bring their partners with them, and they bring their children. The adults play bridge, the children play together. So, what was the big deal this year? It was each one bring one. And I love this idea because you heard Peter Hamilton talk about, we used to think that membership was one person in the club bringing in 80% of the people. Well, Shaker Mehta took that concept and he turned it on its head. He said each of us have to go in and bring somebody in. So we're all part of that membership team. Now, whenever you have a new initiative, especially if it's a bold initiative, you have people that are going to doubt you. And when this was first announced before the year started, people said, well, that's too hard. I'm not going to be able to do it. Well, it's funny because after the year started, we started seeing, this is a Facebook post from India, a club did it. And worldwide, there's clubs doing it. They each one brought one. The other thing that we heard as an objection was, well, Tom, if everyone brings one, aren't you just focusing on numbers and you don't care about quality? You just care about quantity? And that's not the case, because what Shaker asked us to do is to find the one individual that you feel best fits with the culture of your club and bring in that individual. So I don't have to bring in 4 or 5 people this year. I only have to bring the one that I think fits the best. So it really is focusing on quality and not quantity. So that was the direction Shaker gave us. Bring in new people. That was the direction. It was the attraction, that first bubble we saw. But how did he provide the motivation? Peter talked about the membership society. So the membership society, if you bring in 25 people into your club, you receive an email with attached letter from President Shaker inviting you to become part of the membership society. So we had both the direction and we had the motivation. The other thing they did is they set up a series of letters, the first letter going to the sponsor, recognizing her or him for bringing someone in. This is a letter my wife got in the beginning of July for a member that she brought in. So when we bring the members in, then we go to the strategy of engagement. That's retaining our people. So as I said in the beginning, the number one reason why people leave is they don't feel comfortable with their club culture. They don't feel comfortable in the environment they're in. And it's amazing in the last worldwide study we did, Rotary International did, what it showed is that a lot of people, somewhere in the high 80%, it's 85, I think, percent, didn't feel comfortable bringing people into their current club. So what do we have to do? We have to work on, changing our culture a little bit, tweaking it to make our clubs more comfortable so people want to bring in their friends and family, and they want to bring in new people, and people don't leave. So other factors besides comfort, sometimes there is an objection to cost. People think it costs too much or takes too much time. And then Rotaractors sometimes age out, even though there's no age limit on Rotaractors since the council legislation before last, 2019, but they still sometimes move to clubs. So if we want to make this tweak, want to make this change, how do you do it? Well, it's really easy. You have to do an assessment. And a lot of times when we talk about assessment, and Rotary's got 6 different assessment tools, but the most simple one is a survey. And when you do a survey, there's all kinds of different ways. You can go to My Rotary, you could Google up health check. That's what you do with the board of directors. Or you can Google up either in Google or in My Rotary membership survey. Health check goes to the board, membership surveys goes to the members. And it's just basically asking them, do you like our club? Do you like the format? Do you like where we meet? Do you like when we meet? Do you like our socials? Do you like our service projects? Now, it's interesting because when you do these surveys, and a survey could be as simple as if you have a small club with 20 members or less, you could just call the people. If you have a club with 400, then you have to do one of the survey tools that we're talking about, because it would be impractical to try to call that many people. But when you do a survey, we find out that really 5% is the typical number, whether we did one today virtually or we did a paper. We call it 5% are either dissatisfied or very dissatisfied. But the interesting thing is when you drill down as to why they're dissatisfied usually because of something that's really simple to fix, like they don't like meeting in the morning, or they don't like meeting at a country club or a hotel. So what can we do? We could create a little flexibility to help them stay engaged and keep them in our club. So we just want to take a little bit of look at what our current clubs do, our traditional clubs versus the new clubs that are starting. The reason we do this is because the new clubs are having a higher percentage of growth, and I'm so excited to hear that your district has a new club. So time and place, our traditional meetings, we meet usually on a Monday through Friday, mostly Monday through Thursday, but Monday through Friday, and we meet at breakfast around a meal or at lunch around a meal. Most people who come either live near where their Rotary Club meets, or they work near where their Rotary Club meets. And it's, again, early in the morning for breakfast or lunch. When do the new clubs meet? Well, like Maidenham Bridge, they usually meet on the weekends or they meet at night. So, maybe we could have, if there's a group of young professionals inside your club, or there's a group of teachers who can't get off during the day, maybe they could meet at night. It only takes 8 to have a satellite club. They can meet at a different time and be happy. Format, well, this is a great example. You're having your district assembly today electronically as opposed to in person. But so many of our traditional clubs, they meet 4 times a month, right? They meet once a week. And what do they do at those meetings? They usually have business meetings. Rotary does so many great things. Hearing about the gazebos that you built is just amazing. Great way to get the publicity out. But so many people, when you talk to them about Rotary, they see us as people who have meetings and listen to a speaker, and we eat breakfast or we eat lunch. We are influencers in our communities. We have mayors and school superintendents, all kinds of business leaders, but people don't see that. Well, maybe if we changed our format, my club, we have a Rotary in the workplace. So we go to a Rotarian's place of business. Like we went to an airport because we have a member and she owns an airport, and we flew them around our twin cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. That's the middle of America up near the border. And people loved it. They had a good time. We also go to places that we serve, like food banks. And then you can go to that food bank and you can make the banana bread. You can unbox the boxes, or put the shelves, the cans of food on the shelves. But you don't have to have 4 business meetings. You could take, a couple of them and make them a social, or actually go do a service project. Delivery is what we're doing here. You could deliver in a virtual format. Maybe that's part of the time. Maybe it's an option to have a hybrid where you have a meeting in person and you have the electronic option. That's good for some people. We want to talk a little bit about club models and a little bit about membership types, but not too much. Of course, we could do a seminar on any of these, but we just want to give you a flavor of what you can do to add some flexibility. So when it comes to club models, you could take a club model and you could bring in a cause. So many young people, they want to focus on one particular area nowadays, like saving the environment. You can do that. Or you could start up a satellite club that has a cause. And these are just different kind of club models you can use. And if you have any questions in our breakout session, we could talk about these. The other thing is membership types. So, we pay Rotary International dues and we pay district dues, but on the club level, you could alter your price to attract new members. Let's say there's a family and there's several members who would like to come, but only one's coming right now. You could give reduced fees for the additional family members. You could do this with a corporation. You could have a young professional discount, or you could have an associate member where someone wants to join Rotary, but they're not sure it's for them. Maybe you don't charge them, the full amount for the first quarter until she or he knows that they want to be a part of it. Again, the official RI report only has active and honorary members, but you can give discounts to attract new members. And if you want to limit their benefits that they receive, maybe they're not allowed to run for an office or be president of your club. So we brought them in, we kept them. The third and final way to grow Rotary is to form new clubs. Now, this is a particularly important for Wayne Morgan because he's been charged by RI President-elect Jennifer Jones to start 2 new clubs. Doesn't mean you have to start them, but if you have an idea, talk to Wayne so that he can get some people in the district to get on it. So why form a club? I think it's really important to know why. Well, first, it grows Rotary more quickly. It retains members longer, and we're going to prove each of these points in just a minute. It attracts younger and more diverse members. It makes us more visible in the community and not just to ourselves. And it increases our opportunity to partner with other organizations and bring in their members into Rotary. So, of course, new clubs grow Rotary more quickly. The new club that you're starting in your district, you're going to add 20 members. It takes a long time to add 20 members to a club one at a time. Our Rotary Club for Network for Empowering Women, we added 50 members at one time. So that saves us a lot of time. You grow in bulk. It retains members longer, especially if it's a cause-based club. I mean, there's no more motivational factor in the world than a cause. It brings people together. Starting a new Rotary Club is like starting your own nonprofit. But instead of going out to raise the money and find the people and get the tax exempt status and all those things, Rotary gives you a vehicle to do that. We have our district grants. We have our local grants. We have almost 117-year great reputation. We have a foundation that gives you dollars if you want to do a project. This is a picture of the first ever Veterans Club in the world that we started. Within 3 months of starting, they already had raised $20,000 with help of a district grant to redo the first floor of a homeless veterans home so they can make it into a place where they could have camaraderie and friendship. I love these new clubs because they do things differently than we would do. They went to the Elks Club and asked them for money. They gave them $1,000. So I would have never thought of that. I would have thought another Rotary Club, but not an Elks Club. It also adds more diversity. Last Saturday we were doing our service project for my club. And what it was is we were picking up trash along the highway. So if I would go to a millennial and say, join my club, we pick up trash, that might not be the best recruiting line. I see the smiles in there. And why is that? It's because millennials want to have that great impact, but they want to have it in one area, whether it be ending human trafficking or working on the environment. And these new clubs allow us to do that. And just for proof of that, my year during district governor, we had always had a goal since I've been in my district to increase our percentage of female membership. Well, we did that in my year as district governor. And how did we do that? Well, we went back and we did an analysis, and that more than 80 women that we added, they came from just a few clubs. Our Eco Club is more than 50% women. Our End Human Trafficking Club is more than 60% women. And the last 2 clubs actually started during the year I was governor. So the Rotary Club of Network for Empowering Women was almost 70% women. So the new clubs that we're adding to our districts, that's where we're getting our diversity. And Rotary doesn't really it tracks gender numbers, but it doesn't track ethnic numbers and things like that. But when you look at a new club, if they were on a screen, a new club versus the traditional club that I'm a part of, you'll see there's a lot more diversity and a lot younger members when we do track age in the new clubs. It also makes you more visible in the community. It's funny, this is the first ever club in the world to end human trafficking. And we started this club. And it's interesting, it's not like we woke up one day and said, hey, let's start a club to end human trafficking. I wish we were that brilliant, but we weren't. What happened was we had a tri-district initiative. Our district, the district to the north and district to the east of us, had a coalition that worked on this product and this effort, this initiative. And they decided that they came to us and said they were going to quit Rotary. And I said, how can you quit Rotary? You're such all good Rotarians. They said, you don't understand. We don't get enough speakers. Maybe 3 clubs out of our 67 will have an end human trafficking speaker. And we don't get to do district projects. So we had them start a club. And when you do that, they can focus on what they want to focus on, and they could do it at every meeting. They could have every speaker be about that topic. It's interesting, a couple weeks after this club started, we were initiating a woman from Turkey, and we were all excited because we didn't have a member from Turkey at that time. About 20 minutes after that induction, I received an email from the then sitting Rotary International president, Mark Daniel Maloney, and he confided in me that was his sister we just inducted. Well, he had been trying, he told me, to get her into Rotary for 40 years, 4 decades. He tried to get her in, but we just didn't have a club that fit her needs. That's why I loved what DGE Wayne was saying about, we have 1.2 million Rotarians, 1.4 if we include the road actors, but we have 7.9 billion people. So what do we have to do? We have to find these people of action, and we have to find a cause that makes them excited. We have to find a schedule that meets their needs, and just make a club that makes them happy. I was once told that it's easier to give birth than to raise the dead. And it's hard to change a club's culture. And of course, we encourage it, and there's ways to do it, and we can nurture people along, do the assessment, and then make change. But sometimes maybe it's easier to start a new club that'll actually help the existing club. New clubs also give us an opportunity to partner with other groups. This is a club, that's a Rotaract club for the environment. We started this club in just a few months, and the way we were able to do it was we went to SRAG, that's the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group. And these action groups, they advise on how to fund projects, how to do projects, but their members don't actually do the projects. They don't get their hands dirty. They don't dig in the dirt. So we asked them for a list of their younger members that might be interested in forming a club so that they can actually do the projects. We got a list of 120. We called most of them. We got 30 young people to start a Rotaract club. Now, it's not like my club. They don't meet in person. They meet online. They don't communicate like we do. We communicate via email. They use WhatsApp, but they're doing great things and doing great projects. So what kind of clubs can you start? You can start a Rotary club. That takes 20 members. A Rotaract club, which is a recommended 12, and a satellite club, which is kind of a misnomer because it's really not a club. It's an extension of a current club. So your club would be the sponsoring organization, and the satellite club would meet at a different time, but their fundraising efforts and their membership numbers all go to your sponsoring club. And then, of course, we have all kinds of different kinds of models. We have a corporate club. We talked a little bit about cause-based clubs. You have alumni clubs, which bring together people who had life-changing experiences in Rotary, such as Youth Exchange, Rotex. You bring them together and start a club. There's interest-based clubs where somebody might want to start a club that's involves cooking or exercise or some kind of different kind of interest. So we're often asked, what are the 5 things that make a new club successful? It's really easy when you look at them all. There's always a passionate champion, like the wonderful person we had talk about the club that she's starting. There's always that camaraderie and friendship. Like Wayne said, it's all about positivity, but people want to serve with others who are happy. They do want to serve in diverse environments, but they also want to, have people like them in the fact that they want to change the world and make it a better place. And it's about service. People don't want to join a club just to join. They want to join because they want to do service together. Most of these started with friends, our family members, or people they know, because you are the face of Rotary in District 1150. So it'd be easier for you to start a club than it would be a non-Rotarian. And then we also know that new clubs are 42% more likely to survive and thrive if they have a supporting district or a club supporting them. So where are the opportunities? We see them all over. Environmental clubs, there's about 15 of those in the world. The end human trafficking, even though we started the first one just 2 years ago, there's about 8 now, and some of them focus on different areas of that. There's veterans clubs. Wherever there's someone who needs to be served, you can actually do this. But remember, it's not about bringing together a group of people because they're a particular type of people. The Veterans Club is not about being a veteran. It's about serving veterans. So we're always very inclusive when it comes to membership. We ask non-veterans to join the Veterans Club. Ours here, the administrator, isn't a veteran, but his son-in-law is active military. The head sheriff works with a lot of veterans, so he decided that he would join. So it's not about bringing teachers together. It's about bringing people who want to end illiteracy, who happen to be teachers. So I'm willing to take questions, or if we go into breakouts, I'll take direction from Steve or Peter.
Um, thank you, Tom. That was really interesting, and I think it's probably got everybody's brain cells working. I've got one question at the moment, which I may as well ask before we go into breakout rooms. But please, if you've got any more, put them into the chat room now. And Julian has asked, what do you say when a prospective member asks, "What will Rotary do for me?"
I love that question, and Julian, thank you very much for asking. 6 months or so ago, Mr. King, who's editor of your magazine in your area of the world, asked me to write an article on that same question, because he was saying in your area of the world, the National Health Organization, people were able to volunteer because of COVID, and they were saying, why should I pay dues if I could volunteer for free? Well, it's interesting. Other organizations, and I'll pick on the American organizations because I know them, like the American Red Cross, they will tell you, give us money, we'll go do good things. Rotary is the only organization that you could actually find a project, you could design the project, you can go raise the money, do the project, report back and do it. You can't do that in other organizations. I mean, we just started a RCC, a Rotary Community Corps in our community, to serve Afghan refugees. And you know what? I brought together, with help of my friends, 5 different Rotary clubs, and we started this wonderful organization. We meet every other Saturday, and we have 100 people come to these, and only about 15 of them are Rotarians. The rest are Afghan refugees. And we fix them up with corporations who want to hire. We fix them up with the library who gives them free internet. We asked them what they needed, and they said, well, we can't get jobs because we can't drive, and we can't take the driver's test because your driver's manual in your state isn't translated into Pashtun and Dari. So you know what we did? It would have cost $20,000 to actually hire a translator to do it. And it doesn't do Google Translate. We brought people together, we got it done, and now we have success stories every week, every other week when we meet. A few more people pass their driver's test. That's what we wanted to do, and we did that. You couldn't do that in another organization. And plus Rotary, we really do have that network of 1.4 million Rotarians, if you include Rotaractors, and we do have that reputation. We do have dollars. All that is worth it. It's actually worth more than the price of admission. I hope that answered your question.
I'm sure it did. Yep. Right. And following on from Gillian, we got a question from Peter. And his question is, do you believe that as Club Rotarians get older, their social circle reduces and they have a smaller number to influence to join, or is this just an excuse?
Well, Peter, I'll just be honest. I think that I have to say Wayne was right. I've never heard a DGE say we need effort, but he's right. So many people want to say COVID was a problem. And, it's not COVID, it's complacency. We lost about 1.5% of our members during COVID, which is about what we usually use. But if it was a total repudiation of our product, that club service, that club experience, we would have lost a lot more than the people that we lost. So maybe our social circle is smaller. But one thing I didn't get to talk about today is when you start these new clubs, a lot of times from president-elects, I get the question when I go to pets, well, if we start a new club, that's going to be taking members from our current clubs, what we in the US call poaching. I don't know if that translates well to Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland, but poaching is taking someone from a club and starting a new club. Well, I kept hearing that so often. I went to Brian King. He's the head of membership development at Rotary International. I said, Brian, do you have any data on this? They didn't have any data. So they did a study of the last 5 years, and they found out that 88% of charter members of new clubs are new to Rotary. I know that's the case. When we started that End Human Trafficking Club, yes, it was more than 88%, but that 12% that are redos, we would have lost more people if we didn't start that club. We just started a Pride Club. Last week, they had their charter ceremony. 35 new members to Rotary, and 35 charter members, 33 of the 35 are new to Rotary, and the other two felt like they weren't comfortable with their club experience, so they were going to leave. One of them had been president twice of his current club. So I do think when we get older, maybe our social circle gets less, but that doesn't mean we're not meeting people. And, Peter, when I was president, I brought in 31 people into my club. And I thought, that was great. But you know what? I don't have unlimited amount of friends. I mean, Rotary helps me. I'm getting there. But what I realized is you have to rely on other people to help you out. I mean, we have a DG Ray, we have DGE Wayne, we have ARC Julian, we have membership here Peter, we have Steve Jenkins, you have your Rotary coordinator, you have Brian King, who I just mentioned. When we were starting the End Human Trafficking Club, when you start a club, you have to have 20 members. You get 15 pretty easily, and the last few are hard. And then as soon as you hit 20, then you get 5 more, because then everybody realizes it's going to happen. But I went to Brian King and I said, hey, Brian, is there anyone on staff who wants to be part of this End Human Trafficking Club? So he fixed me up with Sue Hall, and she is head of Rotary Action Groups and Fellowships and RCCs. She fixed me up with Dave McCleary, who's the international head of RAGIS, Rotary Action Group Against Slavery. 3 of their board members joined our club, and a 4th let me do a ad in their newsletter that got us another member. So you don't have to do this on your own. You don't have to be the sole member. All of us could work together, and there's a lot of people connected. But I'm going to pass the floor over to Lloyd to very briefly tell us about, I said very briefly, Lloyd, our autism club that we started. That Lloyd's got a passion about this, and we just partnered up with another group, and we were able to form a club really quickly. So Lloyd?
Thank you very much, Tom. It's interesting that every time Tom introduces me, he always says very briefly. He knows how much I talk, and also my passion for this particular subject. I have a son who is autistic, and one of our concerns with our son is that how was he going to live without us? And we were fortunate enough to find this particular school, which is MICC, Minnesota Independent College and Community, that focuses on taking kids with autism, young adults with autism, and making them productive citizens. We worked, I'm on the board with that school, and I got a chance to know the staff. The past head of the school was actually a Rotarian, but she retired and went to Florida, which is the warm part of the U.S. But as I talked to the school and talked to them more about Rotary, because I was actually trying to get some of the members to join Rotary, they actually suggested that we partner together and start a Rotaract club for the young adults to introduce them to service, and also give the parents an opportunity to also be involved. And it started just before COVID. They will be providing for us a place, because things are going back to sort of normal, where we can actually hold meetings and develop a partnership. So we started off with about 10 members, and we expect to grow more because of the relationship that we developed with a collaborative organization. This concept of finding collaborative organizations that sort of fit within the mold of Rotary is one of the easiest ways of starting a club, and also finding people who can be part of Rotary and Rotaract. Tom, thank you very much. I hope I was brief enough. Okay. Thanks.
That was good. In the room tonight, we've got George Mercer, and George Mercer of the Cardiff Club was the person who devised the satellite Rotary scheme and took it to council on legislation, 9 years ago, and got it passed. So he's the person who invented the satellite club. So well done, George.
Well, George, I want to thank you for your contribution in coming up with the concept of a satellite club. It's interesting. It's really being preached a lot in Rotary. Actually, I was a Rotary International Training Assembly leader. So when DGE Dwayne and DGE Lloyd went this year, we focused on that. In our zone paired, where I'm at in the world, we have 23 districts, and the one that's leading the way in membership right now has more membership, not only in numbers, but is also growing quickest, is a club that has two PDGs, a district that has two PDGs going around to all the clubs, setting up, and they started with the largest clubs, setting up satellite clubs so they could have that flexibility to grow. So it really works. When it comes to workplace, George, we do have a solution that's doing well. And Bentley Motors in your area of the world is doing it. They're coming up with a corporate club. In the U.S., we have some national home builders that are doing it, where some of the employees get together and form their own Rotary club, and they do this usually at lunchtime because nobody wants to go to work early or stay at work late. But then when they have service projects, a lot more people from the corporation get together. So it's a great way for someone who, let's say in the legal department, wants to meet more people outside of legal, wants to meet people in accounting or HR. So that's a solution. And I love the service and getting the young people in Uganda to serve. That's great because that area of the world has problems where they have green clubs, which are the wealthy, usually white neighborhoods, and then you have other clubs that they call the brown clubs because there's no grass and there's just dirt, and they don't have internet connectivity and those kind of things. So those projects and bringing them together is masterful. So everything you're talking about hits home and can help Rotary grow. So I'll try to push that up the ladder as far as I can.